Hi, I'm Bob Baulch,
And I'm Wendy Baulch.
and we've been coming to Redemption for about 2 years now, and this is our story about giving. I grew up in a home where we went to church every Sunday and gave every Sunday, but my mom and dad were very big sticklers on the cheerful part of giving, and so if they didn't feel a cheer in giving, they didn't give very much. I think probably about $20 a week was what they typically gave, and I just carried that into my adulthood. I didn't give. It wasn't something that I budgeted for, and I just gave very sparingly as I was getting older into adulthood until I met this girl named Wendy.
And so when we got married, we joined our finances. We began to look at life together. And for me, I had always tithed. It was just something that I had done as long as I'd been a Christian. And so I started telling him about tithing, and it was a few bumps, but for the most part, he was agreeable, and we began at the church that we began going to as a married couple, we began tithing.
Yeah, and so we continued tithing even when we moved here to Beaumont. But I will say that when we started tithing, though, it was like the cork coming off of the bottle. When you submit to tithing and making it a priority, everything else in your life, in my life at least, I was able to submit to the Lord. I submitted my finances to Him, and then I was able to submit other areas to Him as well. I became generous in my giving, and then other areas of my life I was able to be generous as well. It was the stopper in the bottle that took that emptied out the bottle and made everything really start to flow.
And I think that's because in the way I understand giving is that we submit to the Lord and surrender our finances to Him, and then He honors that. And so does He honor it always by giving us $1 million? Absolutely not. However, for me, what He has done with me surrendering my finances to Him all along, He has made a way to bring me more peace, more contentment, more understanding, and ultimately He brought me Bob. And so as we submitted together, then it caused us to be generous in ways that we had not ever been generous before. It affected our marriage, it affected our families' lives, it affected everything. And so I will say, for me, absolutely financial blessings come from being generous and giving back to the Lord what He's given to us. But ultimately, you can never outgive God. And so He is the one that then begins to work in your life and work in your heart and bring all of those things that I believe most of us so desperately want. It's peace and joy and contentment, and that by giving of your finances and surrendering them lets Him come in an amazing way and change your life.
Yeah. And so when Pastor Byron challenged us to give more than just 10%. I really had to pray about that, and Wendy and I decided to pray about it separately. And I got this number in my mind, and I felt like the Lord was saying, I want you to tithe on this number, which was a crazy big number, definitely more money than we'd ever made. And I was really kind of doubtful as to whether that was how much God really wanted us to tithe on. And so I did bring it up to Wendy when we were talking about how much our commitment was going to be, and He just confirmed that is what He wanted me to tithe on.
It was because He had told Bob the amount of money to tithe on, but He had told me the amount to tithe. And when we started talking about it, they were the same. So we knew that He was asking us to step out in faith even though we had been tithers, he was asking us to step out in faith in new ways. And so from that, what do you think's happened, Tony?
I think the box that we were living in, God didn't just give us a bigger box to live out of. He gave us a box that doesn't have any walls. Everything has just opened up since we started tithing, and going beyond that and being challenged by Pastor Byron, it has just opened up our whole faith walk with the Lord, and it's something that I'm grateful for. If we hadn't been challenged by Pastor Byron to do that, I don't know where we'd be, but I'm glad with where we are.